Welcome back. You're watching Bottom Line. Shifting focus to poll-bound Meghalaya now. Well, it seems almost all the parties are once again going solo in the assembly polls. The UDP, meanwhile, is aiming to become the first party to declare its list of candidates. The UDP's list of candidates may come out anytime post the 22nd or the 20th of November. That's what the General Secretary of the party, Jemino Mautho, told Northeast Live today. We'll discuss Meghalaya politics in detail and will be joined by Tur and Kam founder member Angela Rangat in a short while from now. But let's quickly listen into what Jemino Mautho had to say in his conversation during his conversation with Northeast Live earlier in the day in Shillong.
We are joined in by the General Secretary and spokesperson of UDP, Jemino Mautho. Well, the Election Commission will announce model code of conduct for Meghalaya maybe in a month or so. The NPP is saying that they will target for absolute majority. BJP is saying that they will field candidates in all the 60 seats. NCP will field candidates in 17 or 18 seats. So how is UDP gearing up for the elections?
UDP this time, I think it's the party is going to do well in the assembly elections 2023. And looking at the political developments in the state, I think it is now favoring the UDP. Newly floated parties and the fading away of the smaller parties, I think this time around the electorates in the state of Meghalaya are going to support the United Democratic Party, and I hope that we are going to emerge as a formidable regional force in the state of Meghalaya.
So will you be contesting in all the 60 seats?
We will see, because the State Election Committee is going to sit most probably on the 22nd of this month, and we have so far received a number of applications, which is almost around 40. But we will have to screen the applications, although these applications have been recommended at the constituency level, at the circle level, at the district level. Most probably in this month we are going to release the first list, and hopefully we'll be able to contest, if this time around, maybe from almost all the constituencies in the state.
So will you go solo, or will there be a seat sharing formula, and if it happens, which party?
No, this time there is not going to be any pre-poll understanding with any of the political parties. But if there are like-minded parties, like earlier also we had the HSPDP in partnership together with the UDP. We were together under the banner of the Regional Democratic Alliance. So if we have like-minded regional parties who are also inclined to be with us, we would like to welcome that. But in all likelihood, I think we are going it all alone this time.
So the BJP is going all alone, NPP is targeting for absolute majority, they will be going all alone. You are also going all alone. You are the same part of the MDA government. Will that not be something awkward?
No, see, we respect the we respect the mandate of the people of the state of Meghalaya. And if you look back into the history of politics in the state of Meghalaya, we have always had a fractured mandate. And so we have to make do with whatever numbers that we have. But the emphasis on the part of the UDP right from the beginning.
Let's keep it there. Let's keep it there for now. Let's keep it there for now. So I'm being joined by Ms. Angela Rangat, founder member, Tur and Kam. Welcome, Ms. Rangat, to Bottom Line. Once again, yes, on predictable lines, the parties in Meghalaya, all parties in Meghalaya are looking to go solo. They are okay with it seems, though everybody says we are targeting absolute majority, but it's out in the open that probably parties are okay with fractured mandates and already looking at the post-poll equations, isn't it?
Well, you're saying that they're going alone. My question is, are they? Because just yesterday, I think, there was an announcement made that the NPP will not be fielding candidates in some constituencies. One being where there is a UDP candidate in Mairang, and the current speaker that they respect him, which is why they will not field a candidate. In another constituency where there is a BJP sitting MLA, they have said that they are not fielding there as well. So the question is, are they really going it alone, or are they once again fooling all of us, the people, already doing things behind our back in terms of match fixing, which is not out in the open?
But also, do you think it is the lack of issues, key issues? Nobody's talking about the key issues, hence probably everybody wants to go quote unquote solo and see how things shape up, try their luck in as many seats as possible.
Nabaran, it's not only that they're not talking issues. I think it's a really sad state of affairs for our state where the major political parties have not even made attempts to talk about their own ideology even. For instance, what is it that defines the UDP? What do they believe in? What do they stand for? How are they different from the NPP? How is the NPP not BJP? So they never even bother to actually communicate with the people about their values, their principles, their ideology. So leave alone, issues. Even in terms of issues, they will pick up.
But Ms. Rangat, the UDP will say we stand for the rights of the indigenous people. We are a regional party. The NPP again will say we stand for the development of all tribes of the state. The TMC again taking a similar line of a united Meghalaya, unity among all tribes. But the UDP, parties like the UDP and the HSPTP have been playing the regional card, the state card, the indigenous card, the Khasi Jaintia card for that matter.
Yeah, the indigenous nationalist card, you're right. But do they even bother to flesh out these broad stands that they have? When they say they're a regional party, what do they mean by it? How do they defend regionalism? How do they propose to protect the rights of the indigenous? Or is it stops at just a slogan of them being for the indigenous? The question is how? What exactly are you going to do? So those are major issues, and which is why I think I just want to draw your attention to the way even political parties campaign pre-election. Look at most of the parties have not announced candidates. They're still running around looking for candidates. And I think they don't even bother to actually take the public, into confidence, to try and communicate with them, to allow even citizenship participation in their campaigns, because they have nothing to say. They don't even provide at that level some material for the public to chew on, to think about. So for us in COME, for instance, now that we are on the ground campaigning door to door, we also insist that we give in writing to the people what are those beliefs and principles that we have. What are the things we're going to defend? What are the things we will not accept? For instance, corruption is such a simple, easy word. Everybody's going to mouth it. But what do you mean by corruption? What are you going to do about it? And we have given
but again,
document.
Again, I'm sorry to interrupt you there. When you talk about elections in Meghalaya and when elections are localized, when I say localized, let's get down to the constituency level. From the constituency level, let's get down to the locality level. Do you think what you're talking about is a broader perspective? But does that broader perspective apply at all? For instance, many of our, at least in a state like Meghalaya, many of our legislators are accessible to the public. Let's face it, more accessible than in some other parts of the country. What they are doing, what they are not for the people, we are not going into that. But yes, people can approach them. We have seen MLAs who greet and meet people. Of course, it increases as the election gets nearer. But the broader perspectives, are people really bothered, or do they think about their personal relationship with the candidate, with the potential candidate from whichever party? Do you think that plays a bigger role, and that is the mindset which probably is very challenging to change?
I think that the way politics has been played out in our state has been one where, as you said, there's no clear discussion about issues, there's no clear discussion about ideology. Just as an example, when we talk development, now development is not a one way street. What kind of development are you talking about? What is your perspective? What is the vision for that development? If you have a vision, the small things that make up what development is now has to coordinate, it has to all come together. You can't have, for example, an imagination that you will ensure social security for the people, whereas on the other hand, you're going on a massive privatization drive. But if you look at the major political parties or successive governments, there is that gap there. So when you ask me, are people bothered about such things? I think that the representatives and politicians that have been there, the governments that have been there, have not given people a chance, in the sense that they brush this aside and they try to bluster through on an individual charm kind of thing. And they even have the gall to say that actually it doesn't matter if we change jerseys, it's just a team, because it's, after all, me, I, and myself. And so it becomes this individual centric kind of electioneering. And the funny thing is that among the candidates also, you will see them trying to pull each other down by sometimes pointing to the fact that, oh, this candidate is spending a lot of money. And actually, they're just being crybabies, because at the end of the day, all of them are doing it. It's just that one may have 5 crores, another has 1 crore, another a few lakhs. So the modus operandi has been the same. That let's just last minute try to, buy voters.
But again, in India, do you think we are used to these kind of elections now over the years? This has been going on probably since independence. You, for instance, have been a social activist. Now you're engaged with a political platform. Do you think it's a tad late in the day to launch that platform? Of course, you have been raising issues throughout. You have been raising issues throughout, but probably not as a politician, probably not as a potential candidate. Do you regret, that this process should have started probably a couple of years back? And also, do you think, despite everything, despite reaching out, end of the day, people are also used to the tamasha. People need the rallies and the show of strength, and all that is required if you're a serious contender.
Okay. I think I need to sort of clarify, that I don't think it's ever too late in the day, because what we have been doing in the past few years on the ground is politics. And when I say that, I mean that we have been there challenging power, and trying to ensure that people get their rights, that power tends towards those who need it more, the ones who are disenfranchised, the ones who are left behind. So we're not new to politics. Politics being defined as this power struggle and trying to challenge power. Electoral politics, yes, it's our first time. But I think that the process of doing electoral politics is also all about engagement with the people. It's about mobilizing. It's about talking to people. And I think, and I firmly believe, that what we are doing now on the ground, meeting with people, being open to questions, is something that will work, because people in Meghalaya, I think, have been really waiting for a very clear alternative. And that alternative cannot be one where, as I said earlier, the one who has the bigger purse and the one who has the smaller, just coins to spend during elections. It has to be a very sort of clear alternative about people who stand on values, who stand on truth, versus those who use election as a tamasha for self-gain.
Now, Angela Rangad, well, you have chosen a constituency for yourself, which many feel is a tough nut to crack. Now, I don't expect you to say anything against your rival, potential rival candidate, because he or she is not here to defend himself or herself. But what made you take up that big challenge? I still term it as a big challenge. Would you agree?
I think every constituency is a challenge, you know. It's not just South Shillong. But yes, the incumbent has been there for 15 years. And the question is, what has happened for the constituency in 15 years? What has really changed in the lives of the people in 15 years? Has safety and security been guaranteed as a right? Or has it been just a fake promise of protectionism? Has, for instance, a child who was born 15 years ago, today, is that child's future guaranteed in terms of quality education, of healthcare, of a shot at life, you know, of getting gainful employment? These are the questions, I think, that have not been answered in my constituency for a very long time. And I want to again draw the attention of people to the fact that being a representative, being an MLA, it's not just about disbursing the 2.5 crores MLA fund. Most times it's being done also in a very non-transparent, non-participatory manner. There's never any sharing of clear accounts. People don't even get to say what they want that money to be used for, following the guidelines, you know. So being a representative, we need to question and see whether beyond the MLA scheme, have the representatives pushed policies and laws which will ensure a better future for many, and not the kind of politics that has happened where, you know, you have favorites and you are trying to just disburse schemes to those who have probably assisted you in the campaigns. So this is a big question which I think the people of South Shillong ought to be asking. How many laws and policies?
We'll have to see how things shape up. I'm running out of time. Thank you so much, Ms. Rangat, for your perspective on the election scenario. Well, that's a wrap of Bottom Line tonight.